Very good morning to all of you. Sunita ma'am.
Good morning, sir.
Very good morning, ma'am. You can just try sharing your screen and check whether the PPT is.
Okay, sir.
Yes, ma'am. It is visible.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Ma'am, we'll start in another 2 minutes.
Sure.
Participants are joining. We'll just wait for. Let's wait for a minute.
Yes. Am I audible, Manjeet, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Audible.
Ma'am, shall we start? People are joining. We'll start the session probably by another 2 minutes. They will join. We'll start the session now. Okay.
Yes, we can.
Very good morning to all the participants. I welcome all of you for this day 3, session 7 of this FDP program sponsored by AICTE. Today we have our session speaker as Professor Sunita. Ma'am is with a commerce background in academics and has an in-depth learner of various training programs. Sunita ma'am has been a trainer for past 15 years. She has trained several thousand students and faculties of many institutions and corporate employees and so on. Having learned various modules of soft skills, she has been delivering training programs in several areas like aspiration profiling, leadership, employability, ownership, stress management, self-awareness, behaviors and attitude, conflicts and negotiation management, goal setting, time and team management, communication and presentation skills, and etc. For the past 15 years to students, teachers, and corporate employees across the country. She has also been a content developer for most of the above modules and thus makes her sessions very effective. With all her experience and knowledge, she has made her training sessions hands-on with activity for better understanding of the topics handled. Presently, ma'am is working as a senior life skill trainer in New Horizon College of Engineering. Ma'am has been a bilingual trainer with ability to train both in English and Kannada. She has also been a translator and an entrepreneur and a communication trainer. Ma'am, we're very happy to have you on this session today. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for that wonderful introduction. Good morning, everyone present here. I'm going to share my screen. Is this
Yeah, ma'am, you can. Yes, it's visible.
I would like to make it an interactive session. So I might be asking you people to answer certain questions. If you wish to answer unmuting yourself, that is fine. Otherwise, you can type in the chat box. Should that be fine? Okay. Now, my first, of course, I'm going to start this session with a question. My first question is, I have named it how to manage self when stressed. Usually people talk about stress management, but I've been talking about how to manage yourself. Can somebody try to interact and tell me why I have named it this way? Any ideas on why I have named it this way? Any guesses? Of course, it has to be a guess.
Participants, I have enabled to unmute yourself. You can have an interactive session by unmuting yourself. I have enabled the option.
Okay. So anyone? Of course, there are two. Okay. Stress created due to own thinking. Exactly. Okay. So that's a very good answer, Dr. Achyut Panda. Thank you very much for that. See, there are people who talk about this. What is that? What do we call it? The ice, which is there in the ocean. Okay. We normally see only the tip of the iceberg, but most of it is under the water. So when we apply this to stress, usually stress created to overthinking, Jaideep Patel has written, yes, very good. Thank you so much for that. Now, it so happens that there is something that has happened to all of us. There are certain people who take it in a positive way. There are certain people who try to overthink. Let's take an example. May I understand if there is any math teacher here? Anyone who teaches math? Okay, so but we all have learned mathematics in our school and college. Am I right? Now what happens? See, the teacher is there in the classroom, has been teaching all the students in the same way. There is one person for whom math class is very enjoyable. There is another student in the class for whom math class is causing a lot of tension, a lot of stress. Now, the question is the math class or the subject causing the stress, or the way in which the student receives it is causing the stress. So the two answers that we read so far have been suggesting towards the latter. May I ask people to just think about this situation when they learned math with their friends and put up a few comments. Anyone? Okay, so my belief is that the math class happens for all the students in the class. Everybody goes through the same curriculum, the same syllabus. The teacher is the same for everybody. The teaching methodology is same for everybody. There is one student who is enjoying it. There may be another student who's getting stressed. So therefore, we always decide that stress is something that is within us. Stress is something which is an effect of overthinking. Stress can also be an effect of way of looking towards it. How do we accept it? Yes, that is correct. So stress is something which is actually within our mind when we tend to look at something as more challenging, something beyond our capacities and other things. So let us discuss this. Shall we go further?
Yes, ma'am.
So let us understand what is stress according to, see, this is an English word. So this is an English terminology. So let us understand what the dictionaries have to say about it. The Cambridge Dictionary says, stress is a great worry caused by a difficult situation or something that causes this condition. Now, according to Oxford Dictionary, it is a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or demanding circumstances. Very simple explanation for the word stress. And according to a stress clinic, stress is the body's and mind's normal reaction to any change that requires an adjustment. The body or mind reacts to these changes with physical, mental, and emotional responses. So let us understand. Let us take a very simple example. We all have seen people riding two-wheelers on our city roads, and then there are certain children who would like to sit, facing the road, not facing the rider. There are certain children who would like to sit facing the road behind, right? I hope all of you have seen this. This is something which I used to think, I used to see my son doing it, and I always felt, does it not stress? Because whenever I sit in a bus and then I take the seat that is behind the driver, I used to find it very difficult. But then my son used to be very happy doing it. I started thinking of it, and then I said, okay, so there is stress. I find it very stressful to travel looking backwards. So somewhere I started feeling, okay, this is the reaction that my mind is showing to a situation. This is the change. Usually I used to travel facing the driver, looking forward, but then I'm sitting backwards now, my back to the driver. There is a change, and my body is not taking this change, nor my mind is taking this change. Now let's imagine a person who's carrying, see, on two-wheelers, we have seen in India, people transporting big things. So there is a rider who's riding, and there is a pillion rider holding a big, maybe a photograph or mirror or something, a big machine or something. And if the journey is for half an hour or 45 minutes, at the end of 45 minutes, I'm sure the pillion rider who's holding the big item in his hand will have ache in his neck, in his shoulders, in his arms. So this is body's or physical reaction to a change. He is not used to sitting that way. And today there was a change in that person's posture. And this is the reaction that his body has been showing to the change. That is a stress. It is a physical stress which is caused here. Okay, so let us go further. Okay, bodies or minds response to change. We have understood this. To change, to challenge, and to demand as well. Okay, there is a challenge. There is a challenge by, say, we do have challenges in all our sports. We do have challenges for all our students when they do study their academics. We also have performance challenges in our workplace. There is a lot of demand from the younger generation for us teachers. There is a lot of demand from our children, for us parents. Now, all these things, if our body or our mind reacts to these things in a slightly negative way, that can be called as stress. Okay. So I have two figures here. Can you tell me which of the two is stressed? There is a karate person and there is a woman whose picture is shown. Who was stressed among between the two? Can somebody unmute and tell me? Okay. Second one. Okay. That is, somebody has said second one. Does everybody agree with the second one, or does anybody have a different idea as well? The responses? Okay. Fine. Now, somebody has said the second person is stressed because the eye is twitching. Now, I say both of them are stressed. Now, why both of them are stressed? There is this first person, this karate person, who is stressed for his performance. He is stressed. He needs to do something. Maybe he's attacking somebody or he's defending himself. We don't know what is happening there. He is stressed for the result, whereas the second person is stressed about the result. This one wants to produce the result, the first one, and he wants it positive. He is stressed for the positive result. The second one is stressed about the negative result, which might happen or might not happen as well. So let us see. He might be relieving as well. Fine. So there are two types of stress which we just discussed. The first one is called eustress and the distressed. So let us go more into detail. Okay, eustress is normal psychological stress interpreted as being beneficial for the experiencer, for the person. Now, let us take a T20 match, T20 cricket match, for example. Now, there is a team which has performed in the first 20 overs. The team has scored, let us say, 220 runs. The team playing the second innings will have that stress. Okay, we need to perform. We as a team will have to perform. We have to score 220 runs. And we know we can do this. And this is how we are going to plan this. All these things go on in their mind before they start. This is a stress for achieving something. This is a beneficial stress, and this is called as eustress. Eustress is stress that is not too extreme and is good for someone. It is positive stress that comes from positive challenges or exciting experiences. Now, what are the indicators of eustress? Of course, raise in the levels of enthusiasm. Somebody will feel euphoric, can-do attitude, excitement, eager to complete the task. The person who is ready to play the second innings in a T20 will be raring to go, will be, he will be waiting when the lunch hour gets over and he goes onto the field and starts batting. See, maybe the opening batsman will have that urge. So then aiming at higher levels of perfection, of course, these people will say, okay, so we have a challenge here. I have a bowler who is actually planning to get me out. He has studied my videos. So today I am going to be very perfect against him when he bowls. Then, so this person is aiming at higher levels of perfection, setting higher benchmarks, keen to get accolades. All these things are the indicators of eustress. Sometimes lesser awareness of reality, unrealistic. Okay. So what are the effects of eustress? We understand, we accept the challenge, we come out of comfort zone, work hard, sustain and achieve. This is a very simple slide. Yes, anxiety, how it is different. Okay. Now, anxiety is more about, it is more into negative stress. We will discuss that later. Right now, we are doing the positive stress. Okay. This stress is extreme anxiety. Anxiety is, will I be able to perform? Will I not be able to perform? Will I get the required result? Will the person agree? I'm going to ask for something. Will the person grant it? Will the person agree? Will I get leave? I'm asking for an extra day's leave. Will I get it? I'm asking for extra pay. Will I get it? I'm waiting for my students to perform well so that my performance levels goes up. So all these are anxiety. This is something where we are worried about the result. That is anxiety. Okay. So distress is a feeling of extreme worry, sadness, or pain. This is according to the dictionary. Now, indicators of distress is at the mind level, somebody might get impatient. Okay, I don't know whatever the result is going to be. I would like to know the result right now. There can be a kind of irritation. A person who's very, anxious about something might have an irritation as well. Helplessness. I have taught my students, they have to perform. I don't know what is going to happen. I'm feeling very helpless. Then feeling of being useless, depression, melancholic mood, lack of focus as well. The person may not be you. Somebody is anxious about the result and you ask that person to focus about something else, learn something or do something with a lot of focus. That person may not be able to deliver. Then again, at body level, distress indicators can be insomnia. Person may find it very difficult to sleep. There can be sleep disorders, may not be able to sleep for a long time, or it can even be a disturbed sleep, headache, of course, that is the byproduct of all these. Then neck and shoulder pain. Some people get it. In fact, I get it whenever I'm stressed. I know when my neck starts paining, I know that I'm stressed for something. Then nausea and loss of appetite as well. A person might not be able to eat, may not feel hungry, nausea, might feel like throwing up. There is fatigue. Of course, physical fatigue and mental fatigue will set in when a person is distressed. Hypertension, the best byproduct of stress. Then habits, of course, the person, I'm not saying everybody, there may be someone who yields to this distress and gets into habits which he or she feels will relieve stress, but that in a long run might cause more stress. Okay? All these things will happen. Now, sometimes eustress may also lead to distress. Okay, we start something thinking that we are able to do it. We find it very challenging. We find it very attractive. We want to prove to the world that we can do it. But then as we start doing it, somewhere we may find that this is not going to happen. I have bitten something more than I can chew. This is not my cup of tea. And that is when distress starts setting in. So bad stress or distress is when the good stress becomes too much to bear or cope with. Tension builds. There is no longer any fun in the challenge. There seems to be no relief, no end in sight. When will this end? When will I get relieved? I don't mind having a negative result, but this has to end. I cannot take the stress. All of us have faced such situations, or we have seen people facing such situations. Okay. Another way of classifying stress is at the personal level, at the professional level. In personal life, we can have stress. In professional life also, we can have stress. Again, in personal life, it can be mind related or it can be body related. Again, in professional life, it can be mind related or it can be body related. So let's have a couple of examples for this and move on. In personal life, mind related, when the mother feels she is aging and she wouldn't be able to carry on all the household work herself, somewhere her body refuses to do it at the same pace that she had been doing all these while. Then again, mind related, personal life, mind related stress. I don't think I have to elaborate on this. All of us have gone through or we have seen people going through this. Again, in professional life, mind related, yes, somebody else is doing better than me. I'm not able to understand how to do. I'm not able to produce the result. Maybe somebody is facing, I'm not saying everybody, maybe somebody is facing some bias, something. So these can be mind related.
I'm not saying it's wrong, but the dimension.
Again, body related. See, I can talk about teaching body related stress because somebody who is not able to Neeraj sir, anything to ask? So body related is, see, I can talk about a teacher's profession because I'm a teacher. So if I'm not able to stand for long hours or I have a shoulder problem, I'm not able to raise my hand and write on top of the board, something, these can be body related stress. So moving on. Okay. We did talk about the triggers. Now I'm going to talk about the diagnosis because none of us would like to live with stress. All of us would like to come out of stress and perform well, both in our personal life as well as professional life. In fact, we wouldn't like to get into stress at all. But then if we get into stress, let us do a diagnosis and then try to get out of it. So this is the diagnosis part. I have brought in the table here. Now here, I would like to have a disclaimer. I have not taken this from any Google or anywhere. This is a result of my training of 15 years. I was also asked by my mentor to be a human behavior analyst. I used to analyze people, and whatever I have given here is a result of this analysis, and this is completely my doing. And if there are any questions, they have to be addressed to me. I've not taken it from any of this. Okay. I have got an x-axis and a y-axis for this. On the horizontal, I have listed impediments, expectations, approach, creativity, transformation, agent, and sustainability. Of course, on the vertical, I have listed areas where we can have stress. Of course, there can also be many more areas. I have taken only 5 areas here: time management, team management, change management, performance management, and perception management. These are professional life related. We may have financial management, we may have relationship management, we may have many more areas where we may come across stress and we may like to come out of it. Now here, to address this table, I have taken a case study. I live in Bangalore and I know how difficult it is to manage time in a city like Bengaluru. So I have taken an example from the city life of Bengaluru of a person who is an engineer. And I have tried to fit it into time management. Of course, the time does not permit us to discuss for all the others. We will only take the first area, that is time management, and look at how to diagnose. Shall we? Okay. So I would like all of you to kindly read this. Of course, I will read it aloud for all of you. Please read with me. Ms. Sudha is a computer science engineer who resides in Bengaluru. She works for a software company which is located at ITPL. Her husband, Mr. Girish, is a mechanical engineer who works for a manufacturing company located at Nagasandra. Now, ITPL and Nagasandra are 2 opposite corners of the city, and the distance between them is close to 36 kilometers. They live in their ancestral property at Basavanagudi. Both their workplaces are in opposite directions and are equidistant from their house. They have 2 children studying in 7th and 5th standards in a reputed school at Basavanagudi. Girish's aged parents also live with them and look after the children and help in household work. Both Sudha and Girish do not like to drive through the traffic. You know how difficult Bangalore traffic is. Girish takes the company bus to his work while Sudha is dependent on public transport. Girish reaches his workplace in 1 hour, whereas it takes 2.5 hours for Sudha to reach her office as the IT corridor of Bangalore is overcrowded. Okay, so this is something I want all of you to kindly remember. If need be, we can always come back to this slide. May I go to the next slide? Has everyone read it? These days, Sudha is reaching office late and is highly stressed in managing her time. Now, shall we help her? So let us see how to do it. Okay. Now, if we go back to the slides and if I look at this slide, I have taken this time management. I've taken the time management and discussed it with respect to each parameter that is listed horizontally. So let's do this. Okay. So when it comes to time management, the first thing that we are going to discuss is impediments. So what exactly do we mean by impediments? Impediments are the hurdles that we face when we try to do something. Now, what are the impediments for Sudha to reach her office in time? These are the impediments. The distance is too much. There is too much traffic, and she is dependent on public transport. Then again, en route from her house to her work, there is metro rail construction that is happening, which is actually a big hindrance for people who use the road transport. Now, my question is, now here, I'm requesting everybody to kindly be interactive here. This is where I want people to put in their thoughts. May I expect that? Manjesh, sir?
Participants?
Yes, sir.
Participants?
Yes, sir. Okay. Now I'm asking, are these impediments in her control or are they out of her control?
Out of our control, ma'am.
Out of her control. Okay, very good. Out of control is what people are telling. Okay. Now, if you feel they are out of her control, please go to this cell and type R. And if you feel they are in her control, type G. I have just put red and green. Green, if you feel they are in her control, type G for green. If you feel they are out of her control, please type R for red. Leave it at this. We are going to the next one. Then, right. Now I'm going to talk about the expectations. What exactly do we mean by expectations? Let us see. If it is, there are 2 ways of looking at expectations when it comes to professional life. And here Sudha has a challenge to balance both personal life and professional life in terms of expectations. So let us see what it is. When she understands others' expectations at workplace, it is green. When she expects others to understand her situation, it is red. Now let us see what is Sudha's problem now. Sudha has a new boss who is strict about reporting time. Her mother-in-law has developed arthritis and does limited work at home. Her second son needs her help to do well in studies. She ends up leaving home late and desires to reach home early to help her son. Now here, is Sudha. Look at the last sentence. She ends up leaving home late and desires to reach home early to help her son. Now, let us not apply this to ourselves. Let us apply this to Sudha alone and understand whether we have to type R or G here under expectations. What is she doing? Is she understanding others' expectations at workplace, or is she expecting others to understand her situation? Let us look at the last sentence and decide this. I want people to be interactive, please.
Participants can interact with the ma'am. Participant, first you can enable your audio,
Okay.
and then you can interact with me.
Okay, so two people have typed R. That means she is actually expecting others at workplace to understand her situation and put up with her. Now let us understand that she is working in a software company, and where working in a team becomes very important. Okay, so we are moving to the next slide here. Now here it is about approach. Now, when I talk about approach, I talk about objective and subjective. Objective approach to life and subjective approach to life. Now, even before understanding Sudha, even before understanding Sudha's situation, I'm going to give a small question to the audience to make them understand the objective approach and the subjective approach. So let us understand this first, shall we? Now, let's imagine you have visited a village, or maybe you are the resident of the village. In an evening, you are walking outside the village, and next to you, you see a couple of railway tracks. You see two railway tracks. Please, audience, listen to me carefully, because I'm not going to repeat any part of the question again. In an evening, you are walking outside the village, and then you see a couple of railway tracks. One of them is used, the other one is unused. Now, at a distance on your left side, at quite a distance, you see children playing. There are 10 children playing on the used track, and there is one child playing on the unused track. Now, to your right, at a distance, you see a train approaching. At this juncture, you realize that you are standing next to the lever, which can change the track of the train. Now, if you were to be there, would you change the track of the train, or would you not? If you change, why? If you don't change, why? Can participants answer, please? Anyone?
I used railway track, man, because children are playing more there.
So would you like to change the track, sir? And you want the train to take the unused track, am I right?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Because there are till 10 children playing, and you wouldn't like to jeopardize their lives.
Yes.
Any other answer? Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. Is there anyone else who's answering? Okay, somebody has written something. Let me see that. We will remove one child from track, try to stop the train. Okay, right. So finally, all of us are really, really worried about the children, and we do not want children to lose their lives, right? Now, this is a subjective approach because we are being emotional. We are looking at the problem from a subjective approach. Now, let us look at it from objective approach. Now, you are the resident of that village. You know there is a track that is unused. Now, you are going to change the track of the train to the unused one. What happens to the lives of the hundreds and thousands of people who are aboard the train? We don't know why the other track is unused. Maybe it ends abruptly, or there is a cliff, or it goes into a river. We don't know. What about it now? Again, when we know it is a village is a small entity. Children, adults, even cattle know the train timings. And again, let me tell you, when I used to go to college, I had to cross a couple of railway tracks. And then it so happened one such day, I was going with my friend, and both of us were engrossed in some, I don't actually remember what we were discussing, some discussion. And then we happened to stop on the middle of the track. And then we realized all of a sudden that the track was vibrating wildly. And we understood that thousands of tons of iron is approaching us in the form of train. So when there is vibration, the 10 children who are actually residents of village, they know the train timings. Again, there is going to be vibration to send them away from the track. Again, it is only the children who are playing. The driver of the engine is not playing. He's going to blow the whistle as well. So which means there is no need to change the track of the train. Villagers know everything. They know that trains are there. There is going to be a whistle. There is going to be a lot of vibration, and neither the children nor the passengers about the train would be hurt. This is the objective approach, where we do not become emotional, but we look at the problem in a critical way and try to solve that. Am I right? Now, let us see what is Sudha's approach. Is it objective approach or is it subjective approach? Sudha worries more about her image as a daughter-in-law. She is apprehensive about sending her son to private tuition classes, as he pleads her not to send him. She feels bad to ask her husband to help the child in studies, as she fears him getting punished at the hands of the strict father. The father is very strict, not like the mother. He may beat the child as well. Again, the child doesn't want to go to the tuition classes and miss his playtime. Now, again, she's also worried about her image as a daughter-in-law. Now, what is her approach? Is her approach objective or is it subjective? If you feel it is subjective, in the cell below approach, please type R. If you feel it is objective, please type G for green. Okay, may I go further?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the fourth one is about creativity. Now, I usually connect creativity to the ability to find solutions and to make best use of all the resources that are available. Creativity, yeah, to an extent is about all our rangoli and embroidery, all our dance and music, all that is fine. But here, when I think of creativity in a professional life, according to me, it is an ability to provide solutions to problems and to use the resources properly. Now, let us see how creative Sudha is. Let us understand. Sudha is thinking of using a quick ride service. Now, what is this quick ride services? We have heard about Ola and Uber. This quick ride service in Bangalore, it was an app created by somebody where it need not have to be an yellow board cab. Somebody who has his own car, her own car, who's traveling in the same way may ask people to join him. So if you use the quick ride and you say, I'm traveling from Marathalli to Banshankari, and if there is someone who's also traveling the same way, if that person accepts to take you, to give you a ride, you may have to get into that car and you will end up paying a little money, a reasonable amount of money to that person. Now, this was allowed sometime before in Bangalore. Now it is not allowed. So now let us imagine Sudha is thinking of using quick ride service instead of depending on public transport. She is exploring the possibilities of her son using Zoom app, and she feels she can teach him while riding in the cab. She is thinking of getting a reliable maid to help her in household work. she has found an enabler on Engage India Biz. Now, this Engage India Biz is a website where a seeker can actually meet an enabler. A student can actually meet any kind of teacher there. It's a very beautiful platform, which I have been using. I just wrote it here. So she has found an enabler on a website, let's say on a website. Now, has she been providing solutions? Has she been able to think of solutions, or is she expecting others to provide solutions? Now, if you feel she's been able to do that, under creativity, type G. If you feel if she's not able to provide solutions, please type R. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Hope this is understandable. Does anyone want me to spend more time on the slides? Any of the slides? I'm just saying something and I'm moving on to the next slide. If anybody has any problem, do let me know. Now, we are coming to the transformation agent. So what is this transformation agent? This is connected to proactive mindset and reactive mindset. Yes, please. Someone wants to talk? Okay, somebody has said no. Now, this proactive mindset and reactive mindset. So there is a problem that is stripping me. I have found out what the problem is. I also know the solutions. But do I implement the solution proactively, or do I wait for somebody to tell me, or do I expect others to do it? I know the solution, but still I do not take a first step. There are people like that. I know I have to lose weight. I have to go to the gym, but I don't go. So let us see if she is a transformation agent. Sudha has already downloaded the Quick Ride app and has started using their services. She has bought her son an iPad and taught him how to attend Zoom classes. She has appointed a reliable maid to help her in household work, and she has registered in the website. Now, if you feel she is doing something, she has already started implementing her ideas, you type G. If you feel she is lazy, she knows what has to be done, but she's not doing it, then type R. Okay. Let us move to the last one. It is about sustainability, where I'm talking about every time solution and one-time solution. Sudha now prefers BMTC Volvo buses. She says, who wants to ride in the Quick Ride? Let me take the BMTC Volvo buses. I can take a nap. It is 2.5 hours and I feel very stressed. I have to work at home. I have to work in the office as well. So I feel very stressed. I would like to take a nap. Then the iPad that her son has been using has already developed a technical glitch and she's not got it fixed. She gets tired her Sunday. Now, is she a one-time solution provider, or is she a every time solution provider? This is about consistency, sustainability. If you feel she's consistent, please type G. But if you feel she's not consistent, please type R. Now, let us move to the next slide and see how Sudha's graph looks. Now, according to my understanding, Sudha's graph looks like this. I don't know how it looks to you. Okay, there are chats. R, okay, R, G, R, okay, which. So I don't know how it looks to you. Now, whenever we had G, we understood that G is something where there is a solution available. R is something where it is on the negative side, which is actually causing the stress. Now, having diagnosed the stress points, what are the stress points here? What are the triggers? We are diagnosing the stress. This is R. Our impediment is R, which means there is a trigger. Expectation is again R, there is a trigger. Approach, there is a trigger. Creativity and transformation agents are okay. there is a G. So which means she already knows what to do and she tried to do something one time at least. And then now, having done the diagnosis, can we start providing solutions to our points only? Only those points where it is red. Rajesh sir, I think somebody should be asked to mute the mic. Will you please do it? Somebody seems to be traveling and attending the class. Right, sir? Okay. Now, all those people who have given answers to this R and G, I'm really thankful to you people. So can we come out with solutions? Now, let us go back to these impediments. We understood that impediments is R. Okay, so let us go there and see what are the problems. Yeah. Okay. Now, what is she supposed to do? Having diagnosed, what can she do now? Let us address each problem. Distance is a problem, traffic is a problem, public transport is also a problem. Metro construction is one problem where none of us can do anything. We can only shift to another place. So if impediments has got R, then that has to be addressed. These are the areas where there has to be a solution found. So how do we do it? Can somebody tell me, please? I look forward to getting answers for this. Manjesh sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Has everybody been muted? No?
So I have done an option of unmuting themselves.
Okay. So can somebody please tell me, how do we do this? Anybody from Bangalore attending the webinar?
Yes, ma'am. Many are there.
So can somebody please throw some light here? How do we address these problems?
I can shift my residence closer to my working place, ma'am.
Okay. That is we are addressing the distance here. And when we do that, we are also addressing the traffic problem, right, sir?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
So public transport, of course, it may take a different route because you have shifted your house. Okay. Yes. And then metro constructions, you may have to find a house which is away from the metro construction route. So impediments which were actually red, which were out of her control, after diagnosis can be brought under her control. Am I right? From R, it can move to G. When it moves to G, it ceases to be a stress trigger. So when I said there is a way, how do you manage yourself when you are stressed? The same manager, the same office, the same route may not be stressful to another person, but it is stressful to Sudha because how she looks at it. Now, if she addresses it from R, it can actually be brought under G. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Expectations. She is expecting others to understand her situation. She's expecting maybe the mother-in-law to understand, and she's also, expecting the boss to understand, her team to understand. Now, when she understands others' expectations at workplace, she will implement the what should I say, the all the ideas that she has thought of. If she does not understand, yes, it will still remain to be in R and it will continue to stress her. Again, most of you have said R for this approach. So somewhere that subjective mindset has to change. Now, when I talk about the subjective mindset, I have seen many people I have come across many people. I told you people that I also used to do human behavior analysis. And now I used to study. I have seen many people, they glorify their problems. They try to attract sympathy from others. And somewhere in the process, they fall in love with their agony. They want to live with the agony. So this subjective mindset somewhere has to change. Yeah, she worries more about her image as a daughter-in-law. Fine. Somewhere she has to say, yes, I'm a daughter-in-law, but as a daughter-in-law of this house, my earning is also equally important, which means I may have to sit down with my parents-in-law and tell them, explain the reason to them. Maybe she can take her parents-in-law on a ride to ITPL, where they realize what is the distance and what actually the problem is. So she may have to do something like that. So, and then she is apprehensive about sending her son to private tuitions. She may have to sweet talk her child. So everything cannot be addressed. She will have to talk to somebody. Of course, talking is the best method to come out of all the emotional problems. Then moving, then this is the creativity. Yes, she has been providing answers. She's able to provide answers. Well, she has to capitalize on them. Then, of course, she has done at least once. She has got up, she has become proactive, and she has done a lot. Now, of course, the sustainability factor has to be addressed. Right. Now, let us see what happens next. We now understand from the diagnosis that the parameters marked are the actual trigger points for Sudha stress. The question now is, who is the reason for her stress and who has to provide solution for her stress? It is she herself. She is the reason and she has to provide solutions for her stress. If we imagine ourselves to be in her place, what would these solutions be? That is something that we have to do now. We can do the same exercise for ourselves in any area of our choice. Can we do? Now, in spite of doing all these things, if somebody, that actually, whatever we did till now is the diagnosis. And when we start addressing all the red points, that is the remedy. Now, in spite of doing all these things, if we are not able to come out of stress, then these are certain things that we may have to follow. Okay. We may have to understand the core need, the approach positively. We need to develop objectivity, consider inclusiveness, own up responsibility, all these things. We have shown that doing it here. And then if we do not have that, then take the help of experts to address physical and psychological issues. In spite of doing all these things, we are not able to solve, then we may have to take the help of the experts. Now, I would like to stop sharing. I would like to have a question and answer session. Now, somebody who has a problem, somebody who would like to discuss, somebody says, this is the area where I'm stressed. How can I apply the same table to myself? May please start asking. Anyone?
Participant, you can interact with it, ma'am.
I can take questions, and if you would like to relate one of the problems to this table, we can actually do that. Any questions? I have reserved the last half an hour for question and answers. Manjesh sir, if there are no questions, I'm done.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah, if there are any questions as such, definitely I'll forward to you, ma'am. Thank you so much. In spite of your busy schedule, you had given us a time and you have shared us a valuable thing, what we are supposed to actually have it in life. So thank you so much for your time, ma'am. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
sir.
Thank you.
Thanking all the participants.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, participants, the next session is at 11:45. So you can go for a break, take a break, and please join us back at 11:45. The next session is from Dr. Dinesh Balasubramanian sir, who is a postdoctoral fellowship working in Department of Mechanical Engineering, Khon Kaen University, Thailand. Sir will be discussing about the impact of waste to energy based fuels in advanced diesel engines, combustion modes for cleaner combustion. So this is the title, this is the topic of this discussion. So we'll join back at 11:45 sharp. Okay, a feedback form will share it now. Kindly be in the meeting, or else I can also share it in the WhatsApp group also. Thank you all.